Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the Christ Letters by Jesus Christ, the Truth. And we are on letter 4. We're continuing on with letter 4. And in this section, we are talking about the sexual relationship between men and women and our roles on a spiritual level as men and women. So let's go ahead and continue on. When I was in the desert in Palestine, I first perceived that the overriding nature of universal consciousness creativity, our source of being, was intention. The intention to create, plan, and design, and then to bring forth that design by growing it, feeding, healing, protecting, and fulfilling its every need in a disciplined manner. Both male and female have been evolved in physical form and consciousness to experience intention and express it in all ways possible in their lives. This is the very first act of creativity. Without intention, there would be no creation. Intention is the origin of and permeates the whole of existence. Intention defines the nature of the deed, loving or destructive. The male and female have been individualized to experience and formulate intention in their lives. This is the very first impulse of creativity. Male and female have also been individualized to experience and express willpower. Willpower in the male is experienced and expressed primarily as activity. In primitive forms, he moves out into the environment to fulfill his intention. Therefore, he dons the robes of the leader and quester. He was individualized to think and work, to fulfill his purposes without the encumbrance of emotions. Willpower in the female is motivated and experienced primarily as feeling, the need to nurture the original intention and bring it purposefully to full term, fruition, through the process of caring, feeding, clothing, repairing, teaching, protecting. Purpose is entirely different to intention, since purpose comes down from the mental plane of intention and becomes an emotional drive, a desire to formulate, a means to achieve the intended end. A powerful intention to do something becomes a purpose behind continued existence. In this way, thought and feeling are married to perform the work of creation. The male is constantly roaming, seeking new ideas, new ways to fulfill his intentions to give him purpose in life. The female's intentions are purpose personified, sensitive and stable, prepared to make sacrifices for the loved ones. Therefore, the two basic impulses within the source of being, expressed in physical form as male and female, are interdependent. One could not survive without the other. Both are needed for the continuity of creation. Because of his masculine mobility, his leadership drive, the male has considered himself superior to the female. This is because she remains stable, creating security for the male. But the feminine drive is the drive of unconditional love, the drive worthy of the highest respect and consideration to enable her to flourish and perform her innate purpose within the household in peace of mind and joy. The man's role is to provide physical security and material means of subsistence for the family. The woman's role is to provide emotional security and the emotional means of personal fulfillment and joy within the family environment. In the past, in the East and the West, the male has exercised his role of dominance within the home, making the woman subservient and obedient to his will. In doing so, he has bent and distorted the energies of the divine consciousness and channeled them through his mind and heart into a bent civilization. He has also distorted the woman's consciousness by instilling in her a deep resentment of her subservience role, which she knows intuitively she should not be expected to endure. Therefore, he has created a degraded and degrading way of life for himself and partner, entirely in conflict with the nature of his source of being. The fact that the female has had to exercise her masculine drive of aggression to express her equality of being, to achieve the respect due to her within society, means that your civilization has become thoroughly destabilized and unhealthy. The woman is usurping the male role out of desperation, but in doing so, she is defeating the intention behind creation. Male and female have lost their way completely. In underdeveloped countries, people are only half alive, trying to solve the division between male and female through casual sex. As a result, man and woman become ever more divided and unfulfilled. Conflict in the family unit creates stress, misery, and separation, even though they may live under one roof. In developed countries, psychiatric offices are filled with unhappy people and children who say they do not know who they really are or what their purpose is in life. They are asking the experts who do not know the answers either. It should be remembered also that each person, male and female, have lessons to learn in life which can only be learnt in the sex and the race in which they find themselves. Therefore, a woman must accept her role in life as the provider of emotional love and security to her mate and children, with self-respect and dignity, and perform it to the very best of her ability. She must recognize that the role of provider of families, cities, countries together. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a line here. She must recognize that the role of provider of emotional security is absolutely vital to society. She provides the glue of love and well-being, which holds families, cities, countries together. When she understands her true place and goals in society and seeks to perform and achieve them in the highest way possible, she is moving forward rapidly on the path to unconditional love and the highest rewards in personal fulfillment and happiness. She will also move on to a higher level of consciousness, perhaps as a male in her next life who will bring great benefits to mankind. Similarly, spiritually evolved males, even spiritual teachers, return to life on earth to learn true humility and to put all their high principles of existence into daily practice, as a loving woman who mothers with wisdom and nurtures all who have need of what she can offer. Where then is the inequality? Remove the scales from your limited sight and intellect and see with clear vision that there should be no inequality, only shared intentions to express all that you have both drawn from divine consciousness in the most spiritual way to achieve the highest happiness possible on earth. In years to come, when a man and woman have evolved spiritually, if or when divided in intention, they will together take their intentions to Father, Mother, Divine Consciousness, asking, what is to be created in our circumstances? What is our best way ahead? When they have received answers, they will accept them with loving heart and pool them. Any differences in answer will be respected and again taken to divine consciousness with the same request until they reach sincere consensus. Together, man and woman will then return and ask of divine consciousness, how may we best achieve our purposes? And again, they pool their answers and continue asking until they finally arrive at a working plan which has been conceived, not in the human brain alone, but in the highest dimension of creativity, divine consciousness. Working together in this way, they will eventually experience the bliss of true unity of soul, mind, heart, and body. Finally, the male could not exist comfortably without also experiencing and manifesting some of the feminine drive. He needs emotion to bond with his wife, children, and other relationships, schoolmates and workmates, colleagues, and friends. Without some warm feelings, he would be a cold monster. Frequently, if an old soul, he brings through much warmth and caring from previous incarnations as a woman. The more spiritually evolved he becomes, the more equally are the two sexual impulses balanced within his nature. This also applies to women. Equally, the female could not exist comfortably without some of the masculine drive. Without a capacity for intelligent planning, her household would be a disaster zone. There is also the possibility that she has been a strong masculine character in her past incarnations and is uncomfortable in the feminine role of sacrificing herself for others. Such a one must ask of divine consciousness to clarify her vision, that she may see that without love for humanity, leadership is a dangerous exercise. When men and women are nearing an equal balance of male and female natures within themselves, their tasks in life is to transcend their sexual drive through achieving unconditional love for all people and directing the drive itself into pure creativity, such as the arts. Of such people are masters, made masters of themselves, masters of creativity, masters of human consciousness, masters of matter. Unfortunately, at this present time, your men and women who are nearing equal balance of male/female natures within their own nature have no guideposts as to what their true goals should be. They have lost their way and have created a spurious society amongst themselves, in which the joy and personal fulfillment they seek is negated by their preoccupation with bodily functions, rather than with spiritual achievements. They will remain unhappy people, torn with conflicts, until they discover the truth regarding who they really are. In speaking about the feminine role in life, it must also be said that many of your modern women in developed countries have achieved a high degree of masculine drive in the past 100 years. They must choose their priorities in life carefully. They do not have to sit at home stagnant and bored, but they will become happier, more fulfilled people if they turn their intelligence and abilities to creating new modes of constructive life for the whole family. At the moment, they may not know how to do this, but meditation will draw into their minds the necessary inspiration on the best way to use their powers of leadership and talents for the happiness of all. Men who have developed a greater capacity for empathy with women and their fellow men will also, through meditation followed by inspiration, find higher ways of expressing their capacity for leadership in their work, bringing happiness to others. Why have we dealt with the matter of the sexes in such depth? This has been absolutely necessary since the battle of the sexes, both in the East and the West, is creating unhealthy conditions on Earth. It fosters aggression and festers as anger and hostility. Sexual freedom has brought the world to a crisis point of extinction by the impregnation of AIDS. All viruses are created within destructive consciousness forces. You must understand that human beings have created their own viruses. Every virus is a destructive living consciousness impulse made visible. It targets what the impulse of destructive consciousness targeted at the moment the virus took on form. I was very clear about this aspect of existence when I was on earth in the persona of Jesus. The Jews had the rigid tradition of washing cups before drinking from them. I told them explicitly that they should not be worried about what went into their mouths. They should be concerned about what came out of their minds and hearts, then out of their mouths. At that time, science had not discovered the presence of viruses, but it was agreed that disease came from eating and drinking from dirty utensils. But I knew that the disease had originally come out of the minds and hearts of savagely angry people. Thereafter, it was propagated by the division of the cells, but it carried within itself forever the instinct and consciousness which initially brought it into being. AIDS has been no accident. It has emerged from the consciousness forces of self-indulgence and destructive emotional reactions between sexual partners. Submerged hatred and anger can drive people into a sexual act, leaving a residue of sickness behind it in mind, emotions, and body. Because emotional attunement has not always motivated the sexual act between men and women, they have known severe disappointment and lack of release and fulfillment. When this happens, the male sexual energy dwindles. It has to be rekindled by images of sexual perversions. As a result, pornography has become big business in some countries. It panders to the body instincts alone. Out of pornography have come a lack of respect for women and a mechanical, non-emotional sexual act, together with rapidly increasing rape and child sex abuse. People giving way to these abominable acts of depraved cruelty will surely reap the consequences either in this life or a future incarnation. Therefore, when followers of Islam condemn the West for their lax sexual behavior and perversion, they are right to believe that it is bringing down unhealthy conditions on earth. These unhealthy conditions are not sent by Allah, but are a natural consequence of their breaking the laws of existence. Similarly, the followers of Islam are breaking the laws of existence because they, like the Jews, hold to the tradition of an eye for an eye and believe that there is such a thing as a holy war. There is no such thing as a holy war. There is only the reality of holy forgiveness and holy reconciliation, treating your brother, be he your enemy or friend, with love and understanding. None of you may break the laws of existence and hope that you may enter into the kingdom of heaven or paradise. Your behavior has no place beyond the mayhem you are presently bringing on yourselves. We will leave you with these thoughts, which we beg you will receive deeply into your consciousness and make good use of them in your daily lives. We strongly urge you to band together, irrespective of religious beliefs, in small groups, to use the letters as guidelines for your daily lives. Shed, if you can, your conditioning, and come together in true humility, as people willing to agree they know little of true spirituality, but are strongly desirous of learning how to enhance and spiritualize their lives. As many of you are aware, you are entering a new phase of world history, during the course of which it will be realized that no longer is the great divide between the wealthy and the poor. The great divide will be in consciousness. The divide will be between those who have been able to find entrance into the higher spiritual consciousness and radiate love and acceptance equally to all, friends and foes, who make it their goal to radiate divine consciousness into every facet of their daily lives. And those who remain encased within their ego drives, seeking domination of the weak. They may appear to succeed for a while, but eventually they will fail, and their suffering and their self-created darkness will be great. These letters will be the means of your moving out of darkness into light. As you seek to raise your frequencies of spiritual consciousness through radiating love to all unconditionally, so will you be going through a slow ascension in consciousness, which will dynamically affect your physical health and your earthly conditions. On you brave people will rest the upliftment of world consciousness. You will emerge from the coming conflict strong and purposeful, and will proceed to build another type of world consciousness. You will introduce the beginning of spiritual and technical and economical progress and world peace for centuries to come. I, the Christ, have spoken. We, the Brotherhood of Masters, speak to Christians, Muslim, Buddhists, Jews, Hindus, Sufis, and to every religious persuasion of the world. You are all encompassed in our love. Believe this, for this is true. That completes letter 4. Thank you all so very much for joining me. And I will let you know as we start letter 5, let me give you just a brief summary of its contents. Christ begins to explain the true processes of creation. He touches on what science and religious doctrines have believed, rejects them, and defines the truth of being. He touches on the truth regarding the human ego, the means of earthly individuality and therefore necessary, but also the source of all suffering. Okay, and that is actually what letters 5 and 6 will consist of. That's been put together in the contents here. Thank you all so very much for joining me. I don't care if this information reaches 1 people or 1,000. Whoever is watching these and feels that they're in a place to take this in, thank you on behalf of myself and all of mankind. I beg you to keep going as long as you feel these things resonate with you and you feel that you are taking something, even if it's deep within your soul and you're not even sure what it is that what you're taking from it. That is okay. Totally okay. So we stop letter 4 here, and in the next video, we will continue beginning with letter 5. Until I see you again, I love you all very much. Take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and I will see you again soon for the next section of this book. Take care until then. Bye-bye.